Hello everybody, welcome back to Tim's Motorcycle Adventures. I'm Tim, and today we are checking out the 2016 Kawasaki Ninja 300 SE. All right, well, a while ago, before the long, cold, wet winter, I had talked about possibly doing a review video on my wife's 2016 Ninja 300, and so here it is. Finally, we got a break in the weather, although that cloud's not looking so good. But we're gonna try to do a quick review here, and it's just a nice day to get out for a ride, so why not do it? All right, well, my wife has owned this bike for about a year, and it has been a really great bike for her. I actually haven't got to ride it all that much, but that's okay, because that means she's been riding it. You stay there. All right, this is a 2016. It is not a new bike at all. And so I thought, well, how do I do a review on it? Well, maybe you are in the market for a used Kawasaki Ninja 300, and you want to know, what is it like, and is it for you? And so I was thinking about this, and I think there are 3 categories that people might be interested in a Ninja 300. Now, you might think of other categories for sure, and so feel free to write those in the comments below. But these are the 3 that I kind of came up with, that are maybe the most obvious for me. And let's get through this first. All right. Okay, so number 1, who might be interested in this bike? Wow, all of a sudden I'm riding in winter wonderland here, aren't I? Look at that. Look at all the snow. Distracted again. Number 1, who might be interested in this bike? Well, obviously, beginner riders. And I think that this bike is perfect for beginner riders. And not just beginner riders, but riders who maybe haven't ridden in a while and are wanting to get back into riding. And that was actually the case for my wife. She had ridden before. She had ridden bigger bikes. She actually started on a Ninja 650, but then over the years she got out of riding for a little while, and wanted to get back into it. And oh man, I should turn around here. This is getting ugly. Whoa. Okay, we're gonna try to go away from the rain cloud now. Sheesh. This is how this whole winter has gone. You see a moment of sunshine, and then all of a sudden, nope, it's raining again, and it's cold, and it's windy. It's how it's gone for us. Okay, so for us, my wife wanted to get back into riding, and you know, we actually tried what was it, a BMW 310 GS. I thought, oh, that'd be nice, but the problem is it's too tall, and she just didn't feel comfortable on it, and then she didn't want to try. And riding is all about confidence, right? And if you have confidence, you know, the skills, you can pick them up, you can learn them. My wife already had the skills. She knew how to ride. She had been doing it for a while. But it's all about confidence, and this bike just gives you confidence. It's so easy to ride. The engine just revs up, and it's not a ton of power. I mean, you can look all the specs up on these things, but The clutch is easy to operate. It shifts beautifully. It handles really well. It's just fun to toss around. It sounds good. It's just, I mean, when you're on the throttle at 10,000 RPM, it just sounds cool. And it's just a lot of fun to ride. Part of it is just the weight of it. It's a really light bike, and that was huge for her, because, you know, if you are intimidated by a big heavy bike and you think, man, what if I drop this thing? Can I pick it up? It's kind of scary, right? You second guess yourself. But a bike like this, man, you know, yeah, it's actually been tipped over a couple times, but no big deal. These fairings are tough. A couple minor scratches on the stickers. No big deal. You just pick it up, you keep riding, and you keep having fun. And that has been really, really good for my wife, to get back into riding. And so that brings me to number two. The number two reason to buy a Ninja 300, I think, is if you are a commuter. Which is what my wife became after we bought this last spring. And she ended up commuting on it almost every day of the summer. And she had a blast doing it. I mean, it's great on fuel. The mileage is just really quite incredible. She has a short highway stint, and so, yeah, signals, people. She has a short highway stint to get to work. The rest is kind of back roads, and it's just perfect to be able to do that. I mean, this thing will do 120 kilometers an hour, no problem, and the speed limit's only 90. So hey, what are you looking for, right? It'll still go faster than most of the cars around us, and it's just a nice, comfortable little ride to commute on. Great on fuel. On this one, to make it a little more comfortable for her, we put on Oxford heated grips. If you live in a colder climate and you ride all year round, or even early in the spring or late in the fall, and you don't have heated grips like Oxford's, you are torturing yourself. Just go get, they're like $150. They're super easy to install. Man, they make such a huge difference. And for her, you know, on a chilly morning, you throw these on, they get nice and hot. If she has warm hands, she was much happier, and so that was really good. I also put on a little bit of bar risers right here, and just got her to sit up a little bit more. She felt more comfortable with that, and so that helps out a lot, and you hardly even notice that they're there. Yeah, so for commuting, I think this is just a fantastic bike. And if you're in heavy traffic, stop and go, it's easy to ride. You can flick it around, maneuver it very easily. And so that is the reason that you might want to buy this bike. Okay, number three. The third reason that you might want to buy a Ninja 300 is maybe if you are a racer. Maybe you have some experience, maybe not. Maybe you're just wanting to get into racing. I think this would be a really fun bike to throw around a racetrack. Doesn't have a lot of power to get you in trouble. It's all about the handling, and it handles really well. And you could have a lot of fun just throwing it around and going racing. You might want to you know, change some suspension or different things like that, but that's the fun of it, right? Is it doesn't cost you a whole lot. This bike is actually really fairly cheap to maintain. It's very reliable. I did fork seals and new tires last year. The tires are smaller, and so they're actually quite a bit cheaper. Yeah, it's just been a really good bike for her, and this year it's been such a good bike. It's been giving her a lot of confidence, and so she's gonna upgrade to a 650, and I think that's the whole beauty of this bike, right? Is that it's a confidence builder. to allow you to move up to a bigger bike if you want to move up to a bigger bike. And honestly, you know, I don't even think you would have to move up to a bigger bike if you're just doing commuting. If you're doing touring, this isn't big enough. It's just too small. I wouldn't want to do extended highway with it. I mean, this is what it's like on the highway. Right, so it'll do highway, but I mean, it's not ideal, right? And so you'd want something a little bit bigger that's a little more relaxing on the highway. But I mean, especially for here on Vancouver Island, this bike has just been really, really great for her. And yeah, it's been a really good choice to own it, because it's got her back into motorcycling, and I think for me, I mean, that's what we really want. All right, let's see what it'll do for a highway pull here. Hey, you know, that's pretty fun. Yeah, so here I am, I'm doing 100 kilometers an hour. It's really not that bad, right? I mean, it's 7,000 RPM. The engine isn't buzzy, you barely feel it. And it rides very, very smooth. It'll pull right up to the 13,000 RPM rev limiter, no problem. And there's actually a good punch up there, I mean, for a 300. But it's just a lot of fun to hear it kind of wail at 13,000 RPM. And it's, you know, it'll do highway no problem. This little bubble windshield helps a little bit. And it's actually really quite good. Okay, what about things I don't like about the Ninja 300? Because I think we got to make sure that, you know, we don't just look at all of the positives. Even though it is a fantastic bike, there are some negatives to it as well. So what are those? And what kind of things are we looking at? Well, it is an entry-level bike. It's a budget bike, and you just got to know that going in. So don't expect premium suspension and premium brakes. I think the brakes are actually a little bit soft on this one, but not like too bad. It's just takes a bit of getting used to. The other thing is, because it's a 300 and it revs to 13,000 RPM, you have to get used to screaming a bike. So you know, if you're new, you don't know any different, no big deal. That's just the way it rides. It is totally happy doing 10,000 RPM, which if you're coming from a cruiser, that's weird, right? That takes a lot to get used to. All of the power is kind of up on the top, and that does take some time to get used to that. It is very flickable though. Okay, the other thing is, if you notice down here on the dash, it's got a little eco light, little three little circles or hexagons or whatever they are, that say eco, to tell you, hey, you're getting great gas mileage. Unless you're at full throttle, that light is on. I don't know why they bothered putting that thing on. It's kind of silly. But you know what they didn't put on? A gear indicator. I mean, if you've been riding for years, it doesn't really matter, but if you're a new rider and say you're in third and you think you're in first, and then you go to start, it doesn't have the torque to get you going, and you could theoretically drop the bike. And so it would be nice if it had a gear indicator. I think that would just be very handy for newer riders. Other than that, I mean, yeah, it could have this windshield could come up a little higher and block a little more wind. I think that would be nice. And maybe some adjustable levers. I think that would probably be nice for newer riders as well. The seat is okay. I mean, you know, it's not a super comfy touring seat. My wife has not really complained about it, so it's okay. Yeah, and other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot to complain about, right? I mean, especially for the price you're going to pay for one of these things. It's a pretty reliable, economical machine that just does what it does really well, and I think that's why they're so popular. All right, well, I seem to have found the sun again, so that's good. One rain cloud came through just at the time I was doing this video, so that, you know, that's how it works, right? But hey, should you buy the Ninja 300? Well, I mean, if you're in one of those three categories that I talked about, yeah, why not? I mean, you could probably go buy a KTM Duke 390, has a little bit more horsepower. You know, maybe it's cooler, I don't know, but KTM doesn't have great reliability on some of those things. That always made me nervous about them. And quite honestly, they're quite expensive, and this bike is just not. Everything about it is economical, and that makes it really good for racing, for commuting, for a beginner bike. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic bike. I really appreciate it because it got my wife back into riding, and I love going riding with her, and especially when she's on her own bike and not on the back with me. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I hope wherever you are, you get to go for a ride, and if you're still stuck in the prairies with all that snow, hey, come for a ride with me. Until next time.